YouTube, what's the deal? It's your boy Tankzilla, aka Tank be Choppin. We're going over another haircut tutorial. Now what we finna do right here is a 3 on top and a mid fade. Razor down to the skin. Alright, so I'm going over the top with the number 3 guard. I'm using my Babyliss SilverFX. So y'all see me taking all that hair off, brushing the hair down, make sure the hair lays good. And we're going against the grain and going across the grain, making sure I get all those hairs. Alright, so if y'all ain't peeped my other tutorial, y'all make sure and go check that out. I'm gonna be trying to put these out weekly, guys. At least, I'm gonna try to post at least once a week. Alright, so now I'm taking my Babyliss trimmers, setting my initial bald line in, leaving that front part a little dark so I can make that curve with the trimmers towards the end of the haircut. So we're just balding all this out. Remember, I said when I do this, I really don't focus too much on making this line too perfect. We're gonna fade it out anyway, so as long as it looks a little more than halfway decent, we'll be alright. And then in the back, I do like to drop my fades a little bit. So I'm making sure I'm getting all that hair down, prepping it for the Babyliss shaver. Some people don't do it like that. Some people actually bald it out with the clippers first, and then towards the end of the haircut they hit it with the trimmers and the shaver. But I do it this way. I like doing it this way. Make sure I get all those hairs. Leave that hair in the front a little bit. All right, now I got that shaver going over the sides. And remember, the closer I get to that guideline, I release pressure, and then I probably ain't doing it right there, but a lot of times I come down with the shaver also right there. So I might do that here in a second. But towards the bottom of the fade, I apply more pressure at the bottom, and then towards the top, I'm flicking out a little bit, and I'm not pressing too hard against the scalp. That way it doesn't leave a hard ass line. Alright, so now I got my Babyliss SilverFX making my next guideline. Clipper all the way open, coming up about 3/4 of an inch to an inch. Flicking out a little bit. Clipper closed about halfway, and I'm coming right below that, so about 1/2 inch. And then close my clipper a little more. Come up right under that, and then clipper all the way closed. And try to fade out that bottom line. Now sometimes that bottom line doesn't come out, but that's fine. We'll take care of that with the trimmers later on. Next step, I got my 1 guard on there, all the way open, coming up about another 3/4 to an inch. Flicking out slightly. And then, as y'all can tell, I like to fade down. So clipper halfway closed, coming up right underneath that line, and then clipper all the way closed, taking out that guideline. This is my 1/16 guard. I got it halfway open, and I'm just tapping that bottom line because it still looks a little dark to me. So sometimes you don't have to do this step right here. This step is I wouldn't say it's optional, but sometimes it's needed and sometimes it's not. So now I got my 1.5 guard open, cleaning up the rest of that hair right there. And the same thing, halfway closed, coming up right under that, and then all the way closed to get that bottom guideline out. This is my number 2 guard right here. And I'm just fading the rest of it out. I'm starting with my clipper open. Making sure I brush that hair down. You know, the way his hair is, I got to keep brushing it down. That way it lays right. Because if not, you know, his hair will actually like get pushed up. So I keep brushing it down. That way I can see how his hair is really going to actually lay when it comes time for the finished product. So now I'm just doing some detail work, and I like to fade back down on my detail work. So I started with my 1.5 clipper and 1.5 guard, and I started going down. Now this is going to be my 1/8 guard. Tapping those spots that I see are dark. Opening and closing the lever as needed. 1/16 guard, doing the same exact thing. Open and close the lever as needed, guys. Clipper open, doing a little bit of corner blending there. You know, that's just how I do my detail work. Opening and closing that lever where I see fit. Now I got my trimmers and I'm tapping that bottom line, trying to get that razor line completely out. Shout out to my boy Mondo, man. I actually did his haircut for a look and learn that I gave here at the shop. So now I'm doing that curve with my trimmers for his edge up. So I'm just curving that line. Trying not to push his hairline back, but I do want to make it sharp. And remember, that's why I leave that a little dark in the haircut. That way, when I put that curve in it, you can really see it. Doing a little more detail work. And then what we did to that side, we got to do this side. Clipper all the way open, coming up about 3/4 of an inch to an inch with a slight flick out motion. Clipper halfway closed, and I'm coming right underneath that. And then I'm gonna close my clipper a little more, come right underneath that, and then close the clipper all the way and try to knock out that bottom line. And this is just the way I fade. Like, you don't need to fade this way. You can actually start with the clipper closed and open it as you come up. But I feel this way is good for me because it helps me not go too high. So the next step, I got my number 1 guard. And I'm coming up about an inch, maybe about 3/4 of an inch. Still flicking out the wrist. And then I close my clipper halfway. Come up right underneath that line and then close it all the way and knock out that bottom guideline. Still looks a little dark, so I'm putting my 1/16 on there. Clipper halfway open. And I'm just attacking them dark spots. One and a half guard, and I'm just still attacking that fade all the way open, closing it halfway, and then close it all the way to get rid of that bottom line. Here's my number 2. It's all the way open. You see how I'm flicking out with the wrist. I'm not going into the fade. I'm not pushing the guard into his head. I'm coming off of the head as I fade. And same thing, I got it open and then I close it as needed, just to get rid of them dark spots and make this fade look nice and airbrushed. So now we're gonna detail it. So I'm gonna come back down, 1.5 guard, opening and closing the lever as needed. Got my 1 on there, doing the same thing. And like I said, this is all detail work. This is what separates a good barber from a great barber. You gotta have that barber's eye. Alright, now I got my Babyliss trimmers, doing a little corner blending, taking out that bottom line. Now I'm lining up that edge. See how that comes out? Okay. We working, guys. We working. It's 2020. Let's get it. Alright, so I'm starting with his edge up on top. I'm starting off at the middle of his head, and I'm moving over to the right side of his head. So I started off in the middle, and I just move my clipper over, a little at a time. Brush the hair down. Attack that little box right there. Make sure it's nice and straight. Face looking good. How y'all think the fade looking so far? Y'all let me know in the comments below. Alright, so on this side of his edge up, he's got a little lightness right there. You know, it's like it's thinning, or it's just a little, you know, it's just lighter right there. So I don't want to push the edge up all the way up there. I'm actually trying to keep it as low as possible. So it's gonna look like he's got a little dip in his edge up going up into his hairline. But like I said, that's just because I do not want to push his hairline all the way back there to give him a straight line. So basically, if there was hair right there, his edge up would be straight. But since it's not, it's not gonna look as sharp. But that's fine. We just ain't trying to push his hairline too far back. So you're gonna see I keep brushing the hair down, trying to make sure I get it as straight as possible without pushing his line up back. Not every haircut needs to be super crisp. You're gonna have these clients where they can't get, you know, the crispiest, sharpest line, and that's okay. You just gotta make it look good. All right, so now we're doing the back of his fade. Clipper open, coming up about 3/4 of an inch to an inch. Clipper halfway closed, coming right under that, and then clipper all the way closed, knocking out that bottom line. And as you can see, I'm like moving the lever a lot here. I'm just basically detailing it as I go. One-eighth guard. So when I say 1/8 guard, I hope most of y'all know the 1/8 guard is the 1 guard. So number 1 guard coming up about another 3/4 of an inch to an inch with the clipper open. And now I'm fading down. I use the clipper halfway closed and then all the way closed. Now I got my 1/16 guard or my half guard. And I'm doing the same thing. I started with my clipper halfway open and then closed it as needed to get that blurry effect. Now I got my 1.5 guard. Closing the lever as needed, guys. I know sometimes the back part of the fading right here, the crown area, sometimes it's a little more difficult than the rest of the haircut. So this is another reason why I like to drop my fades in the back slightly. That way I don't push this too far up. So I got my 2 guard right there, opening and closing that lever as needed, trying to make sure it looks all faded in. Brushing the hair, making sure it lays the way it's supposed to be laying. Alright, so now I'm doing some detail work. I'm using some corner blending techniques. Opening and closing that lever as needed. Now we're gonna line up his edge with the razor. So I'm just going over what I did with the trimmers, guys. Remember, you wanna stretch that skin and you wanna keep that razor flat. And that's basically all we're doing. We're just going over what we already did with the trimmers. Doing the other side, making sure his edge up is nice and crisp. And yeah, man, that's how we get down. So y'all let me know how I did on this fade. I think it's looking pretty good. Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think about it. If you don't already, please subscribe, like, and comment, share. Follow me on Instagram at tank_b_choppin. I'll see y'all next time, YouTube. Appreciate y'all for watching.